G'day Seagulls fans, welcome to Seagulls TV for our team announcement video ahead of our Round 7 clash with Collingwood this Saturday out of the Holden Centre, and joining me to take us all through the action is football manager Chris Dixon. Chris, you'll be hoping to continue the great form the club is showing out there at the Holden Centre on Saturday.
Really important. We know we've got most of the boys going to have a week off the following week with the VFL game, the state game, so it's really important we hit that week with a bit of momentum and continue on the last couple of weeks. So no, we're probably going to have a bit of a tougher test this week against a Collingwood team that was really good last week against Geelong, and you're going to get a lot of players back from injuries. So it's going to be a really good challenge. It's going to be a great environment. I think plenty of people coming across after the AFL game. So hopefully we can continue our performances under lights. We've been pretty good, so hoping it continues this week. Yeah,
there's going to be a big crowd there, that's for sure. Get straight into the team, and as we take a look at the back line, great to have Jack Johnston back in the side last week. Plays his 50th VFL game this week against Collingwood. He's come a long way since joining the club from the Gippsland Power all those years ago.
50 games, it goes pretty quick, but look, it's certainly been a great asset to us since he came on board. Look, we've used him in quite a variety of roles. He's probably been thrown around over his time here more than anyone else, I reckon. Everyone probably remembers his first year where he played as a tagger throughout that final series and was really impressive as a first year player coming in. I think he tagged lots of Chris Kane, Jordan Schroeder, and was really impressive as a first year player coming in. We've obviously used him forward at times, and last year we saw him have such a dominant year in sort of the back half as a rebounding half-back flanker, obviously playing the premiership side. So he's developed a lot since he's come here, both on and off the field, and look, he's a great person to have around the club, and it's a great reward to see him playing 50 games. So good to have him back in action, and it was just great to see him slip straight back in last week. He sort of obviously helps sort of coming off a hand injury. You obviously don't lose your fitness. He can still do a fair bit of running, but we were pleasantly surprised with how quickly he picked up the speed and got straight back into it.
Well, it's great to have him out there playing his 50th game on Saturday. So we take a look at the midfield, not too many changes there, but pretty good return by the skipper last week with 47 disposals.
Yeah, I think it ended up at 44. I think Ed Carr might have pinched a few when they looked back at the tapes, so Ed was quick to remind him of that during the week. But look, he certainly was his best game of the year to date. Obviously his back would give him a few problems early on, but to come back like that and just be moving as freely as what he had been, it was a great reminder for everyone. I think probably Gibbo and Wheels might have been stealing some of his spotlight, so he's just re-stamped his authority there. So look, it was a dominant performance, and look, he may or may not get a bit of attention this week, but certainly adds to that midfield mix when you've got Gibbo, Ed Carr, Wheels, and they're all in pretty good nick at the moment, so it's important they keep going this week.
And the forward line, again, not too much change there, but Sammy Denal has been in ripping form, 11 goals the last 2 weeks, leads the goal kicking table in the VFL by 5 at this stage. He looks to have taken his game to another level again this year.
Been really impressive, and I think it's certainly his leadership down there as well. So, and he's just got such a great knowledge of the game that he knows, I guess, when he's getting, I guess, the most dangerous defender, he'll sort of go out and create some space when he feels like he's got a matchup that he can really capitalise on. He'll obviously try to put himself a bit deeper as well. So it's great to see him in the scoreboard. Really pleased with how the forward group's operating at the moment. We saw Ace Bob up kick goals, Aaron Sipos, Dill Conway. So we really feel that we've got sort of a few different targets down there at the moment, which is making it harder for opposition clubs. So they're going to come up against a really probably experienced backline this week. Could be Nathan Brown there. Jonathan Marsh is a really good player at VFL level. So it's going to be a really good challenge for them to see how they sort of handle a few guys down there who have got a lot of AFL and VFL experience.
And just taking a final look at the interchange, probably the biggest definitely the biggest inclusion this week will be Nick Meese, provided he gets through training tonight. He'll be important if your player's going up against the likes of Jared Witts, who's an absolute monster at VFL level.
Certainly, look, he was disappointing to miss last week, Nick, against his old club. Really happy with the way Tyler Curtis came in, and we know that still Tyler can really do a job for us both up forward and also in the ruck. So as you said, Nick's got to get through training this week. Fingers crossed he'll be right to go, but whoever rucks for us is going to be really important after they set up against a Jared Witts, I think, who stands at 208 centimetres, so it's going to be a huge task. So it's really important that whoever's in there keeps cracking in, and hopefully we can get first hands on the ball.
Now, one of the most intriguing battles, if Travis Cloke ends up remaining at VFL level, that's obviously going to be a huge marquee matchup. You'd be pretty confident, though, that we've got some key defenders who can roll through there and try and do a good job on him.
I think it's probably a bit of a cliche these days, but it's probably going to be a team defence sort of setup with us. look, I don't think for us it's going to be sort of a one play going the whole time. We're really confident in sort of rolling a few players through there, depending on, I guess, what part of the ground he's on and I guess how the game's panning out. So it's probably not something we'll look to isolate with a certain opponent, but whoever's near him is obviously a really dangerous player, and he's certainly just his sheer size is going to cause some headaches, as it did against Geelong last week. So it is going to be a challenge, but I think probably more it's going to be how we prevent the ball coming into Collingwood's forward line. So if our midfield and forwards and even our backs are doing a good job in really applying pressure to their midfield, hopefully Trav and their other forwards up there aren't getting good delivery. But I think, it's certainly going to be a different coming up against him this week. I think he played for us probably close to 10 years ago now. So, it'll be certainly an interesting one. I'm sure it might draw a few extra people to the game as well.
Absolutely, and obviously they're not a one-man team. There'd be plenty of other key Collingwood players that you'll have to be wary of come Saturday.
And it's probably the strength of their VFL list that probably goes a bit unnoticed. They've had a really good summer in retaining a lot of their key VFL players who have now sort of played 3 or 4 years in the system. So the likes of, I guess, Jack Hallier, Colopy, brought in a guy called Matt Smith, who sort of was at Port Melbourne a few years ago, Jordan Kelly, who was sort of at Box Hill, Hawthorn and the Bulldogs. So really good depth there, and really admire the way the Collingwood team's gone about in the past few years. You know you're always up for a tough game when you come up against them. So as you said, it's not just going to be one player. They've got really good depth across the field, and especially with the players they'll get back from injury this week, it's going to be a pretty formidable opponent that we're coming up against.
Well, as we've spoken about, it's going to be a fairly big crowd there with the Collingwood AFL side playing at the MCG across the road just beforehand, so parking will be an absolute nightmare and possibly an expensive nightmare. So if you'd like to come along, you can jump on our supporters bus for just a $20 round trip. That'll leave the usual spot of Seagull's Nest, the pub here in Newport on 1 Mason Street. That'll leave at 4. It'll leave Holden Centre at 8 and bring you right back here. So if you'd like to jump on that, it'll just ease the stresses of finding a park and travelling out to the Olympic Boulevard there. So call 93910309 to book your spot. But Chris, that'll do us for another week, and let's hope we can roll into the bye with another win.
Sounds good. Cheers.